Hey everybody, welcome to a fucking YouTube video. No gimmicks, nothing fancy, no stupid bullshit. It's just a regular YouTube video. Just a fucking guy talking about video games. I find that a lot of the times you spend a lot of time working on something, too much time, and you put it out and no one really gives a shit. And more often than not, the videos or the content that people really respond to and really seem to like the most is the shit that you just lazily crap out that doesn't have too much thought put into it. You can really overthink content. Most people don't want anything amazing. People just want to hear a guy's voice rambling about video games while they eat their lunch and pretend they have a friend. I mean, that's what we're all after. We're all just really miserable, and we just want to hear someone's fucking voice filling our heads to replace our own thoughts. No one wants to be listening to their own fucking psycho bullshit in their head all day. You just want to hear a guy talk about games. So here's all the games that I have installed on my PS4. Well, not installed. It's just my whole PS4 library. I don't even know where these games came from. You know, some of them are on sale, some of them are free. Before you know it, you've got like 200 games on your PS4. Most of them you've never even played. So I'm just going to go through the whole list. And I'm just going to talk about all the games. Not all the games. I'm not going to talk about the games that I haven't played. So if you see a game on here that I don't talk about, it's because I didn't play it. And, if I talk about a game, you want me to talk about it more, well, I'll make a mental note of that, and maybe I will someday go more in depth about it, I don't know. But I'm just going to talk about the games that I have played and tell you what I think of them. This is going to be like the worst video ever, but most of you are going to love it. That's how it usually works. So, the first game that I see on here is A Bastard's Tale. And A Bastard's Tale is like, I don't necessarily want to use the term meme game because it sounds kind of derogatory, but it is sort of a meme game. I mean, the whole game is one simple conceit, which is that you go left to right and it's really hard. It's like you're a knight, but it's weirdly realistic. Not even realistic, just sluggish. Like sluggish and terrible, but on purpose. The challenge of the game is that it's impossible. The controls are so different from what you're used to in a game. It doesn't control like an action game or even a platformer at all. It controls like a weird rock, paper, scissors simulator. So like you just walk in a straight line. There's no jumping or exploring. You just go in a straight line. And every single encounter is like its own little puzzle. And you gotta memorize and get good at it. So it's one of those like hard for the sake of being really hard games. And the whole point of the game is to just go, oh, that game's pretty fucking hard. And you play it for however long. And you go, well, that was a hard game. So, if it sounds like I'm shitting on it, I mean, it's a good game for what it is. I liked it. I played it a little while. I think there's a Let's Play of me playing it. I don't know if I ever actually posted it, but oh, God, kill me. What the hell is the next one that I posted? Abzu. Abzu is like a journey. It's one of those kind of games. I think that's all I need to say about that. It's basically like an interactive screensaver where you're just sort of experiencing a story by going through this world. It's like an hour and a half, 2-hour game at most. It's from the makers of Journey and Flower and all those games. It's exactly what you'd expect from that developer. It's a journey. It's Journey, but instead of a desert, you're underwater, and it's pretty cool. You play it once, and then you have the experience, and you're like, okay, I'm glad I played that once. It was only like 2 hours of my time. It's like seeing an artsy movie, and it's in your brain now forever, and you never have to play it again. So that's a good thing right there. Am I even recording? I'm always like 10 minutes into it. I always have this feeling like this is all for naught. Anyways, Alien Isolation, a game that got a lot of accolades. Of course, everyone loves the Alien franchise, even though the movies are bad more often than not. Everyone has such a fondness for the first two movies in particular, that the series just has all this residual goodwill, no matter how much it sucks. So people are always excited for an Alien thing, or the next big Alien thing, because people still want the series to be good. It's been mostly terrible for a long time, but there's been good ones here and there. The Alien first-person shooter for the PlayStation 1, I remember was really cool and a really good game. This is like, it's sort of based on the first one, where it's not really an action thing. It's more of a horror. There's like one alien, and you're running and you're hiding from it in the whole game. And there's no like pausing. Like everything you do is in real time, so you're always tense because the alien is... It got a lot of accolades. It was very highly reviewed and very well praised, and everyone seems to like it. I gotta tell you, I played this game for about an hour. I fucking hated it. I did not like it one bit. It was just tedious and boring, and I didn't know where the fuck to go. It was one of those games. It was a where the fuck do I go kind of game, and that's one of my biggest pet peeves. So I didn't even really get to the meat of the experience where you're actually hiding from the alien. I just got to the part where you first see the alien. That was like an hour into it, and it was so fucking tedious and confusing trying to figure out where to go that I got to that part and I'm like, I'm fucking done. I don't even care. I get it. It's alien. It's gonna stalk me. It's gonna have a thing in its mouth and a thing in my chest, and who gives a shit? So, whatever. Then there's the Amnesia collection. Amnesia was PC games that were very popular. It might have been like 10 years ago now. It seems like they're recent, but it also seems like they might not be as recent as I think, because God, time just moves so fast. But I remember them being a big deal. I think when I was in high school, so yeah, that would be a long ass fucking time ago. It's just a horror game, and it's a first person, and you can't really attack or fight anything. It's one of those where all you can do is run and hide, and it's supposed to be tense. Again, just like Alien Isolation, which I'm sure took a lot of direct inspiration from Amnesia, because Amnesia ended up inspiring so many other games. It kind of kickstarted a whole new genre of first person, I can't fight, I have to hide, scary, spooky horror games. Again, I've played the first one, I think, just a little bit. I don't like it. It's just not my genre. It's just not my cup of tea. Next, Among the Sleep. Among the Sleep is a walking simulator, but it's kind of an interesting one. At least the central conceit of it is interesting. The thing about walking simulators, it's a term for a genre that sounds inherently derogatory, because there's so many negative connotations to it. People hear walking simulator and they think of like fucking what the hell was the one that I hate? I don't even remember the name of it. The one with the lesbians. It's on here, so I'll see it. They're always like pretentious, it seems like, and really just some art student's fart sniffing diary set to a meaningless walking excursion. People hear the term walking simulator and they think it's always going to be bad no matter what. But I have played some that would technically, you could put them in that genre, but were still cool because the central conceit of them was so entertaining and unique just for as long as the game lasted. And usually they're short, so they don't stretch themselves too thin. They're just long enough to where the conceit of it works. And you go, yeah, that was a cool little experience. And Among the Sleep is one of those. It's interesting. You play as a little baby boy, and you're like hiding in a crib, and you're like hallucinating monsters because you're a little stupid baby. So you're hallucinating that you're in like this scary fucking Pan's Labyrinth world with monsters and shit, and you gotta walk around and hide, and like you're in the house, but everything in the house is scary. Like the furnace is like kind of a monster. You go into the basement and it's like a scary furnace, and it's cool. It's really unique, and the story actually gets pretty interesting. Like, you learn things about the family, and you learn that there's like a darkness under the family. You learn that one or more of the parents is harboring some bad feelings. It's cool. It's just a cool little game. It's like a 3-4 hour game. And I liked it quite a bit. So not all walking simulators are created equal. Not all walking simulators are shit. Some of them are just interesting enough and just cool enough to be cool. It's just that the ones that seem to get all the accolades and all the attention are usually the worst and most pretentious ones. I can't believe I don't remember the name of the game I'm talking about, because I think you know the game I'm talking about. I just can't remember the fucking name of it for some reason. I played it. There's a whole Let's Play of me playing it. The one where you're the girl and you're in the house and you find the letters from your sister and she's a fucking lesbian. I'll get to it. It's on here. And then I'll see the name of it and I'll slap my forehead and go, how the fuck could I forget that? Anyways. Anima, Gate of Memories. Some kind of like anime game. I think I played it for like 10 minutes. It kind of controlled like one of those Devil May Cry clones, but like one of the bad ones where it's just like not good. I might even be wrong. I might even not know what I'm talking about. I might have it confused with something else. Who cares? Never heard of that. Armikrog. Armikrog is so one of my favorite games of all time is Skull Monkeys for the PlayStation 1, and there's a Let's Play of me on my Blue Glow channel playing that. And it's like a platformer and it's all claymation. It has this really unique sense of humor, and it's one of the guys responsible for it, Doug Tentacle, is also the creator of Earthworm Jim. And it's a great game. It's one of my favorite games ever. I played it as a child, and what I didn't know back then is that the game was actually a sequel to another claymation game from the same studio called The Neverhood, which was not a platformer. It was a PC game, and it was a point and click. So after all these years, they kickstarted this game, and this is the third one, Armikrog, the third spiritual successor in that series. So I was excited to play it, but when I got it, it is more in the vein of the first one than the second one, and the second one is the one that I grew up with and liked, which was the platformer. This one is a point and click, like the first game. And, man, I hate point and click games. I just don't like them. They're slow, and I hate puzzles, and they're bad. And I hate them all. I hate moving the stupid cursor. I hate not having direct control over my character. The only point and click game that I ever honestly really liked was Escape from Monkey Island on the PS4. I mean, the PS2. Because that game was sort of optimized and built for the PlayStation 2, where you could actually control Guybrush and move around with the joystick, and it felt more like you were actually doing something, and you were actually the character interacting with stuff, as opposed to controlling a cursor clicking on stuff, which feels like totally removed from the experience to me. All these great point-and-click games that people say are classics, that they always say everyone has to play, you know, like the Tentacle and the Full Throttle or the Grim Fandango, all those games that people love. I think those are all from the same studio, too. But I just could never get into any of them. I don't like point-and-click games. I think they're all terrible. I think the genre is inherently garbage. The only way that I can stand them is if they're like Escape from Monkey Island, and you can actually control the guy. So I was disappointed to actually play this game. I was really excited, like, oh yeah, new Skull Monkeys. I can't wait for this. And I played it, I'm like, oh, alright, it's a point-and-click puzzle game. Bunch of bullshit. And I played it for like 20 minutes, and I didn't know what to do. I was lost, and it sucked, and I hated it, and it sucked. There's this fucking Batman. It's a Telltale game. I didn't even play it, so I'm not going to talk about it, but I mean, you know, you've played one Telltale game, you've played them all. Beyond Eyes. So, much like Among the Sleep up here, this is another sort of walking simulator kind of game, where you just walk around and experience the world for 2 hours and hope that the central gimmick is cool enough to carry that 2 hours. And in this game, the central gimmick is unique enough and cool enough to carry that 2 hours of gameplay. So the conceit of this game is that you're playing as a little blind girl and you're sort of lost or whatever. And because she's blind, the whole world is white. You can't see anything at first, and only as you walk near things do they sort of fill in with color and pastel, and you see the world by interacting with it. So it's just kind of a really cool experience of walking. I mean, the controls are kind of bad. She's slow and she bumps into shit a lot. I mean, of course she does. She's blind, but I don't know. I thought Beyond Eyes was a pretty cool game, and I recommend it. Both of these games, Among the Sleep and Beyond Eyes. If you want to see that a walking simulator can actually be interesting and cool, these are two that I would recommend. I thought about making a video once of like just go like a list of actually good walking simulators, just to show that the genre isn't all terrible, because the only ones that get attention are the crappy ones. But maybe I will make that video. Maybe I'm making that video right now. Maybe that's what I'm doing. I'm talking about them. I'm saying the things that I would be saying then, just less articulately and more rambly and more incoherent. But it doesn't matter. Coherency does not matter on YouTube. That's not what anyone cares about. No one cares about hearing an argument or a point structured well. You just want to hear someone talking and rambling for as long as possible to not think about death. I get it. So this is that video, I guess. Here are the good walking simulators: Among the Sleep and Beyond Eyes. There you go. And the next one is Beyond Two Souls. I didn't play. I think it's like, is that like a David Cage game? I don't even remember. I don't even know. I think it might be. It's whatever. If it's not, it seems like it. Then you got Bloodborne. Everyone knows what Bloodborne is. Everyone knows all the From Software games, the whole Soulsborne series, if you want to call it that. They're all good. They're all great. This one is the one that is like more of an action game as opposed to the other ones, which have more RPG elements and more choice. Personally, I prefer the Dark Souls series. I prefer the RPG elements and the more choice over building my character and building unique builds and just creating new guys and kind of role-playing a bit. I like to play those games over and over again as different characters, because I'm a psycho. Bloodborne, it always seemed to me like it has a lot less choice, and every build ends up kind of being the same. So it's not my favorite of the series, but for a lot of people, it is their favorite of the series. It's, it's different strokes for different folks. It is very different from the Dark Souls games in many ways, but it is very good at it's very good at what it does. What it's going for, it accomplishes completely. And the world is very fun and cool and gothic, and it's all interconnected. Yharnam is a cool place, and everyone loves it. And so there you go. There's Bloodborne. Not much to say about it, because everyone fucking knows what it is. Bombing Busters is like a Bomberman ripoff, I'm pretty sure, that I played for like 30 seconds, and I was like, this is fucking terrible. Get me out of here. Help. So, fuck that. Bound is like another like artsy game where you play as like this dancer with ribbons in this abstract sort of world floating in a void in space or something. I don't know. Who gives a shit? Maybe it's good. I didn't play it for more than 5 minutes, so I wouldn't know. Child of Light was like a side-scrolling game, I remember, with like a cool art style and kind of a cool story. Again, didn't play it that much. Might suck for all I know. Chronicles of Teddy is like sort of a side-scrolling, exploring, like a Castlevania, and maybe also like a Zelda 2. You just gotta fucking... I got stuck. There was like this puzzle where you had to like memorize musical notes or something. Up until that point, it was good. Wait, this might not even be that one, because there's two of them. And I think the two games in the series play pretty differently, so I might be wrong about that. Who cares? It's the best game ever. Fuck it. Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy. This is a collection of all the Crash Bandicoot games for PlayStation 1, and of course they have much nicer graphics now. They've been sort of rebuilt from the ground up for the next-gen PlayStation 4 technology. They look really great. It's great. I mean, all three games in the trilogy are fantastic. I have 100%ed all of them at one point or another. Either on the... I think I did all of them back in the PlayStation 1 day when I was a kid. I was going to try and redo that feat on this collection to get those fucking trophies, because we have to get those worthless, meaningless trophies. But I did play it for a little while, I think last summer when it came out, and I think I 100%ed the first two, and the third one by then I was bored. Not that the third one is bad. The third one is arguably the best in the series, but playing them all back to back, I did the first two, and then I'm like, I got distracted by life, I guess. Dark Cloud 2, I've never played. I've always heard it's good. Darksiders 2, I've never played. Day of the Tentacle, again, one of those classic Tim Schafer point-and-click games that everyone loves, that I hate because it's a point-and-click, and they suck, and the only ones I like are the Monkey Island games, and the only reason I like those games is because the PlayStation 2 one was good and allowed me to control my character like a real game. Daydreamer, this is a really weird and really bad, but like so bad it's like interesting kind of side-scrolling action game thing. It's bizarre. It's got a really weird aesthetic that I can't even describe. It's just a fucking nightmare. And that's not praise, nor is it criticism. I'm not saying it's good or bad because I genuinely don't know. I have played it, but I cannot come to a consensus in my own brain. It's weird. I guess look it up or play it for yourself if you see it on sale for like 1 cent. Because I can't even describe it. It's weird and shitty. But also, like, not good, but the aesthetic is just different enough that even though it's shit, you're like, is it shit? I don't know. I don't want to think about it anymore. Next game. The DC Universe Online is an MMO about the DC Universe. You make your superhero and you interact with the other DC superheroes. I don't like MMOs. I think they're all pointless and terrible, but I did end up playing this one once upon a time for quite some time, and it wasn't bad. I think I actually bought this game on the PlayStation 3 years and years, like a million fucking years ago, and got pretty into it for a little while. And then I never played it again. And then it came out on PlayStation 4 as a free game, and so I got into it again for a little bit. It's a good game. I mean, I know nothing about MMOs, so I can't say what's a good one compared to what's a bad one, but this one you could be a superhero. So that's pretty much what I cared about, and it was cool. Dead Island, it sucks. It just sucks. That's all there is to say about it. Like, it's a nothing game. It's totally shit. It came out, it had all this hype. It had this, like, great ad campaign. But then you actually play it, and it's just like a pointless first-person collect-a-thon scavenging, mindless zombie punching search and rescue bullshit. Like, there's just nothing to it. It just sucks. It's like the most boring shit. It sucks. No one should ever play Dead Island. Not even because it's bad. Because when a game is really bad, at least that's an experience. This game is so bland and mediocre and nothing that it's actually worse than if it was bad. Don't play it. It's just time that you'll never get back. Ugh. And then there's like this like side-scrolling retro game spin-off of it. Who gives a shit? And then there's a whole other one. Is this like a sequel or is it like an expansion? I don't know, but it's terrible. The whole series is ass. Fuck it. Dear Esther, and this is another... Okay, so this is what I was talking about before, how, like, when people think of walking simulators, they think of games like this, that are just slow and kind of pretentious and super self-serious. They seem like they're, like, trying to teach you something or, like, trying to lecture you about something, but it's so obtuse that you don't know what they're trying to lecture you about. This game I played for all of, like, 5 minutes, and it was so slow. The walking was so agonizingly slow. Like, I wanted to give it a chance, but you're just, like, shambling like an old geriatric along a beach while somebody reads from a letter. Just like Gone Home. That's the name of it. That's the name of it. It always comes to you when you're not trying to remember it, when you're just talking. And then that's when you're trying to remember something, it's harder. The other one, Gone Home, Dear Esther, they're both the exact same game. They both fucking suck. And they both got, like, massive accolades and approval from like, the critics. Because they're self-important and, like, pretentious and ugh. And that's not even a word I like using. I don't even like using words like pretentious or pseudo-intellectual because who am I to undermine or devalue art that means something to someone else? I get that. I'm self-aware about my role in the world as a critic when I take on that role. I'm self-aware about the fact that criticism is worthless and critics are worthless, and to be a critic, you have to understand that. if anyone's played Gone Home or Dear Esther and felt something or admired the craft of those games or enjoyed the experience or got something from them, don't feel undermined by me calling them pretentious, because what I have to say about them as someone who doesn't like them ultimately doesn't matter. But I think they both fucking suck, and I think they're pretentious, and I think they've kind of given a bad rep to the entire genre, because there are good games in the genre that use the conceit of no death states and just walking through an environment to tell a story in a unique and interesting way. There are plenty of games that do that are much better than the ones that seem to get all the accolades. So it just kind of annoys me that sort of a whole entire genre has been deemed garbage and is sort of overlooked because the most visible ones at the top of the pile are like the worst ones. So that's my rage about walking simulators that I didn't know I had in me, but I guess that's an opinion that I have. I didn't realize it until I started talking, but sometimes that's what happens. You just start talking, and before you know it, you're articulating a feeling that you didn't know needed to be articulated, and it's coming out of you. And once it's articulated, it's crystallized into something that is actually an opinion. Before, it's just a feeling. And once you articulate it, it crystallizes into an opinion. And that's where opinions are born from, and that's where critics are born from, and that's where we go when we kill ourselves. Back to the hellscape that we crawled out of, where we belong. What am I talking about? I don't even know. Death Tales is like a really terrible, like a side-scrolling. The art style in this game is atrocious. You almost have to play this game. It has to be seen to be believed. It's the ugliest game I have ever seen, and it's so cluttered and hideous. Just look up Death Tales to see how ugly it is. It's unbelievable. It's horrendous. And it's a side scroller, but I couldn't get into it because it gave me a splitting headache just trying to figure out what was going on the screen. Anyways, Demon's Crystals, I don't know what the fuck that is. Deponia, another fucking, a point and click. I don't even know how I got it. It's got good reviews. Everyone, it seems charming and quaint. That girl on the cover is pretty, but, who cares? I'm not gonna fucking play a game that I can't really play, that I'm just playing as a cursor on a screen. Am I recording? Oh, God, I'm so paranoid about not recording. I've been talking for a half an hour. Deus Ex Mankind Divided, fantastic game, amazing game. Pretty much every game in this entire series is great. I mean, I think there was a PlayStation Vita one that was a spin-off that wasn't great, but all the main entries in the series canon are great games. I don't think I beat this. I got pretty far, but I do not remember the first Adam Jensen game at all. I know I played it and I know I beat it, but I don't remember anything about it. And I know it was good. I just don't remember anything about it. Mankind Divided, I think, is the second one, and I remember it a little bit better because I guess I was more there when I played this one. But the interesting thing about this game is that it takes place in sort of a smaller area. You have this one city as a hub, and the creator of the games always said that the best game would not be a totally huge open world with nothing to do, a la Phantom Pain, which I complained about for that exact reason. The best conceivable game would be a small area where you can do absolutely anything and interact with it as you would in real life. And that's kind of the philosophy that you can clearly see in this particular entry, because instead of a big open world, you're just in this small area of a city, but you can do anything. You can go into any apartment and explore, and every apartment has a story in it to find, a side story or learning about the people. It's amazing, and it's cool, and it's a really good game. And you know what I did in this game for hours on end? I just grabbed boxes and trash cans and refrigerators and dead bodies, and I piled them up into my house, into Adam Jensen's apartment, and I became the ultimate hoarder. That's how I spent most of my time in Deus Ex Mankind Divided. So any game that gives you the option to just ignore what you're supposed to be doing and do dumb shit like filling your house with dead bodies and boxes like a crazy person. That's the kind of stuff I like to do in games. So that was fun. Great game. Disc Jam. I don't know what the fuck this is. I don't want to find out. It looks ugly as... It looks like you're like some kind of a turd man. Like a man made out of turds. Ugh. I don't even want to know. Dragon Ball Z Xenoverse 2. This is a really good game. It's an online Dragon Ball game. It sort of plays a little bit like the Tenkaichi games, if you remember those. And you make your own guy. You can be a cute little Saiyan girl and fly around this open area and meet the characters and learn their moves. And that's pretty much the whole game. But if you're a fan of Dragon Ball, it's just fun to be in that world and be your own person and interacting with those characters and flying around the world. There's not a whole lot to do. You kind of get bored. The world doesn't have a lot of activities. And after you play it, I'd say there's about 5 hours of really good gameplay in this. And after that, it becomes tedious and you've sort of seen everything the game has to offer. But up until that point, it's really good. So, there you go. Drawn to Death was fucking horrible. This was a free game that I got for one of the PlayStation Plus free game giveaways that they do every month. I believe it's by David Jaffe. Suffice to say, it's not his best. It's a game for 12-year-olds in every sense. It's very edgelord. And I don't use that term lightly, but it's... You play as, like, drawings on a kid's notebook in high school. Like, you're like a kid is sitting in school doodling on his paper, like we all did. And that's the art direction or the aesthetic of this game. And it's a cool aesthetic, and it's a very cool framing device of a game. And it's just, the gameplay is just like an arena deathmatch kind of third-person fuckfest. But it's one of those games. What really pissed me off about this is that it's the kind of game that thinks it's funny to insult the player over and over again. So, like, it shoves you into this tutorial. And the whole time, it's bad enough that you're in a tutorial, but the whole time, the narrator is, like, condescending to you like you're an idiot. Like, you're such a fucking stupid idiot. You have no life. What are you doing playing a video game? You don't even know how to jump? Let me teach you how to jump and attack, you stupid piece of shit. You're probably fucking sitting there in your parents' house and you have no fucking life and you'll probably never get laid. And, like, people think that that's endearing for some reason? Or funny? It's not. I'm a grown man. I'm not going to sit here and be insulted by a video game for playing a video game. The game should be thanking me for playing it, because it's not that good. I'm doing you a favor by playing your game. And, like, I know it's supposed to fit with the game's, like, edgy sense of humor, but it's not funny. It's just really obnoxious and terrible. And, like, playing a game and the whole time you're playing it, there's a narrator going, you have no life. You're a fucking idiot. You're a fucking loser for playing video games. It's like, who thought that was a good idea? What were they thinking? Terrible fucking game. 0 out of 10. It's absolutely horrendous. I don't even know if I still have space on this phone that's filming this, because you can't use the PlayStation 4 recording thing on the PlayStation 4 menu. The PS4 has a built-in recording thing where you can record gameplay footage, and it's really convenient. Except you can't use it on the menu. So a video like this, where I'm just looking at the menu, it's like the one time I need that feature and I can't use it. So I'm filming this, with my phone pointed towards the TV screen. And I think I'm running out of space in the phone. I don't know how much. It doesn't matter. Dungeon Punks I never played. Everybody's Gone to the Rapture I played for like 2 minutes. I think it's another like a walking game. I didn't play it that much to say whether it's good or bad. Stream Exorcism, I've never even heard of that game. I've never even seen it before. I don't know how it got on here, but whatever. Flower, everyone knows what Flower is. It was the first game, I think the first game by the Journey guys. It's a great game. It's a experience that everyone should have once. That's all I got to say about that. I mean, it's fucking Flower. You know what fucking Flower is. Flying Bunny is like a really bad, like a cheap, it almost feels like a phone game or a flash game that you would play on some website in fucking middle school, but it's just a really mindless side-scrolling shmup, but not even like really a shmup, because shmups have like gameplay and challenge. This game has neither. This game is just totally mindless. You just go and you shoot, and that's it. Like, it's really easy to the point where you'd have to be catatonic to play it. And I have played it for like an hour at a time before. I don't know why, but it's like a total nothing game. So, fuck it. Fortnite is free. I played it for like 10 minutes. I didn't get it. I'm too old. This is not my generation. I don't understand it. Sorry. I'm not going to diss it. I'm not going to dump on it. But I'm just too old for this shit. Fury, I did a review of back in the day, or a not review of. I did a video about this game. Great game, fantastic game. It's just like it's like half walking simulator and half boss rush. And it's fucking fantastic. It's really good. Go watch my video on it. Galgun Double Piece. I believe this is like you shoot panties. You shoot girls' panties off, or like you shoot them in the pussy and they come. It's like one of those like weird anime sex games, but like not like a real sex game. Like it wouldn't actually turn anyone on. It's just like the whole joke of the game is like, haha, sex, and it's like anime girls and you're shooting them in the pussy to make them come, I guess. I think I did a Let's Play of it where all the footage got destroyed. So it was funny, I guess, but I don't remember it. Sorry. Game of Thrones, another Telltale game that I played the first chapter of. I mean, it was okay. It captured the feel of the show, I guess. And again, it's a Telltale game, so you know exactly what it is and how it plays. They're all exactly the same. The only thing I don't like about this one in particular is that because it's a licensed game, because it's, you know, the Game of Thrones license and it's official, you get the sense that nothing you do really matters because nothing that happens in the story can contradict the show. So, I mean, I don't know what happens in the later chapters of the story, but I can't imagine anything all that interesting because it's in the canon of the show, and anything in the canon of the show that was important would be in the show. So, there you go. So it's totally worthless. I don't know why anyone would play it. Gauntlet is Gauntlet. You know what Gauntlet is. But this game is bad. This game is really terrible. You know, the interesting thing about the Gauntlet games is that most of them are bad. Everyone loves the series because of Gauntlet Legends on the N64. And maybe like the sequel, which I think was called Dark Legacy. People like that one too. But I mean, those were the good ones. Every other game in the series is just bad and mindless. And I don't know why. I don't know like what's even different about Gauntlet Legends that made it so much more fun than every other game in the series. Because they're all exactly the same, including Gauntlet Legends. But for some reason, Gauntlet Legends had this charm to it, and this color to it, and this life to it. And it's just such a fun, like I still would love to play that game. It would still be fun, but I don't know. I don't know if the whole series is bad or just, I don't know. I love Gauntlet Legends, and I played this new one, Gauntlet, and it's fucking the most boring shit I've ever seen. So I don't know. Fuck it. Alright, here's Gone Home. This is the one I was talking about earlier. This game, you know, was praised to death. It got so many accolades. People lost their fucking minds about Gone Home. And, of course, there was also a big sort of backlash against it as well. So there's there's the people who think it's the most amazing, revolutionary, progressive, like, story of a lesbians coming out ever, and it, like, revolutionized games, and it's the greatest game of all time. And then there's the other people who think that it's total trash, and that all those other peoples are, like, SJW cucks, and that's the two sides of the dialogue around this game. That's the only... It's either the most amazing, revolutionary, fucking story experience in the history of games, or it's SJW cuck trash bullshit, and it sucks ass. I don't know that I would necessarily be in the latter camp, but I do agree that it sucks. It sucks, but it doesn't suck because it's SJW trash. It sucks because... And it doesn't suck because it's a walking simulator. It sucks because it's a bad walking simulator, and the story is poorly written. Not because it's about a lesbian. Just because it sucks. I don't know, like, the writing in this game is just so insipid and obnoxious, and I know, it's like a teenager writing the journal, so you can kind of forgive a little bit of it, like maybe it should be kind of obnoxious, but the level of pretentiousness and obnoxiousness, and nobody, like, treated it that way. Nobody treated it like it's the story of a dumb girl who was dumb. If people looked at it that way, then I could swallow it more, but people treated it like it was actually really smart and actually really amazingly well written, and I'm like, did you play the same game? I mean, the whole thing, the big twist about the game, which would be cool if you didn't have it spoiled for you by everyone in the world. If you were one of the first people who played this game, then I could see why the twist would really blow you away, because it presents itself like a horror game, and it presents itself like you're in a haunted house. And what you slowly realize, the big twist, is that there's nothing supernatural at all. And it's not a horror game, it's just a coming-of-age story. And that is a very cool twist, and that much is very well done. But unfortunately, that part, which is the best part of the experience, is the part that inevitably has been spoiled, because everyone knows what the story is. The conversation around this game grew so big that it became impossible for anyone to actually be surprised by the big central twist, which was the best part of the game. And without having that central twist take you by surprise, all you're left with is a horror game that is not scary and sucks, and a coming-of-age tale that, on closer inspection, is not that well written and is very bad. The whole game, I mean, you come home and you're looking for your sister, and she's not there, and you find out that she is gay, and she ran off with this girl, and that's what you find out. And the way that it presents itself is like it's supposed to be this big, amazing, like, coming-of-age moment. And again, if you're fucking, like, gay, I guess, and you, like, felt something playing this game, absolutely, right on. But what really defeated the purpose of it for me is that you're being narrated all these, like, pretentious diary entries and these pretentious letters of the sister who was gay and ran away from home. And it's making it out like she was so oppressed and so stifled, and she just had to get away, and no one understood her. But that is completely at odds with the actual gameplay, because, again, the actual gameplay is that you're exploring a mansion. This girl grew up in a mansion. She is excessively rich, excessively privileged, clearly. So the gameplay and the story are completely at odds with each other, because the story is trying to tell this tale of a girl who was not accepted because of her sexuality. But in reality, you're going through this house, and it's like, these are, like, upper class, like, white folk. She wouldn't be oppressed. I can't, like, these are the kind of people who would be like, oh, our daughter's homosexual, isn't that swell? And they'd be wearing sweaters and shit and playing fucking croquet. it's... I hope what I'm saying makes sense. I just played the game just having this, like, seething rage. Like, how dare they think that this is deep? How dare they think that they're teaching me something or showing me, like, an oppressed gay person? Like, you can't open people's eyes to a person's harsh experience when you're inadvertently showing them that this person is infinitely more privileged than you anyways. Like, I feel like part of the mission statement was for me to go, oh man, you know, young LGBT people really have it rough, and I feel so bad for this girl, and now I'm less bigoted, and I feel like that was part of the mission statement, to evoke those feelings, but the only feelings that it evoked in me really were bitterness and rage, because how dare they try to pretend that a fucking teenager living in a house like this has any problems whatsoever. I don't buy it. I don't believe it. I don't believe that her problems matter. Sorry. I don't care if she's gay, straight. She's rich. That's all that matters. She's a rich, privileged, spoiled piece of shit, and I don't respect her. And I don't respect the game. So there you go. I think it's bad. I think the story and gameplay are completely at odds with each other, and it fails on every conceivable level. The only level that it succeeds on is the level of just it being a twist, that you think it's a horror game and then it's not. But that's the one thing it does well, but that's ruined because everyone knows the twist. So there you go. I think I'm out of batteries in this phone, so I'm going to stop here and continue this later, perhaps. There you go. That's me talking about video games. Pledge to my Patreon, please. This is the e-begging portion. I know it's disgusting and distasteful, but there are perks. You get to see exclusive videos. You get to enter my Discord server and hang out with me. Cool stuff. Exclusive videos. Okay, enough. Jesus Christ. Cut all of that.